£2,999. That's how much the entry-level Giant Propel costs. Now, the Propel is Giant's dedicated aero bike, and after doing some digging, I cannot find another brand new, full-price aero bike which costs less than that. So it got me wondering, is this just a bit too good to be true? The bike uses the same frame as the other Propel models, other than the range-topping Propel, which comes with an integrated seat post and a lighter carbon layup. It has a full 105 mechanical group set with an 1134 tooth cassette and 5236 chainrings. The frame and fork have clearance for up to 32mm wide tyres, and the tyres that come fitted are a pair of Giant's own inner 25mm width. The wheels again are a pair of Giant's own PA2 alloy wheels, and I'll talk about these more when I get to the bike's cons. It has an alloy bar and stem along with a carbon seat post and Giant's own saddle. As a happy bonus, this bike ships with a pair of bottle cages, an out front computer mount and a factory tubular setup. So let's get onto this bike's pros and cons. Starting with the pros, let's quickly just touch upon that last point. The included bottle cages, factory tubular setup and out front mount for Garmin's, Wahoo's and Giant's own computer. These would usually cost you somewhere in the region of about £50 just for the parts, so I think it's really great that this all comes with the bike. I really like the clean and tidy paint job and the fact it has a gloss finish. I think it will certainly stay looking really good for quite a while. And at a glance, I don't think it particularly looks like a £3,000 bike. To the untrained eye, you'd think it cost a lot more. I think the gearing is bang on. I like that Giant has spec'd a semi-compact chain set, as it'll suit the type of rider looking to buy this bike. And really, I don't think you can go wrong with a 105 mechanical group set, because it is so incredibly reliable. Lastly on the pros, we cannot ignore the frame itself. The Propel has been a stalwart of Giant's road racing range for many years and has been loved by plenty of professionals and keen amateurs. On to the cons, and I think this bike is going to need rather a lot of parts changing, which quickly sours the very attractive price tag. I think the tyres would need to be swapped sharpish, mainly on the virtue of their 25mm width. I'd be looking to fit some 28 or 30mm tyres. Giant does claim that when inflated on its wheels, the fitted tyres measure up at 28mm, so it could be worse. They're also manufactured in the Maxxis factory to Giant's design, so they are being made by a brand that knows their stuff when it comes to tyres, albeit more so in the mountain biking world. The width of handlebars that come fitted across all sizes are between 20 and 40mm too wide in my opinion. Fitting a 40cm wide bar to an extra small bike simply doesn't add up, especially for a bike which is designed to go fast. Few upgrades will add as much speed as a narrower handlebar will, but even for getting speed, purely from the perspective of using components that are the right size for the rider, any bike fitter will tell you that they need to be narrower. I do like that Giant has fitted various lengths of crank arms to the bikes, but for the extra small build, it would have been great if they fitted a 165mm crank. Since this bike does have mechanical gears and those gear cables have been routed internally throughout the bike, you could suffer from poor shifting due to the amount of friction caused by all those tight twists and turns as the cable has to navigate through the handlebars, stem and frame. The best way to mitigate this is to drop some lube down the cable outers to reduce this friction as much as possible. And don't be shy with it, because the outers go all the way from the shifters all the way through to the derailleurs, so they'll need an appropriate amount of lube to really make a difference. Lastly, moving on to those wheels, while aesthetically they do fit the build quite nicely, they really won't be something you'll want to be riding for very long. Giant doesn't claim a weight for this wheel set, but numbers online suggest they land in the region of over 3 kilos. That's a serious amount of weight to be lugging around. In fact, if you were to upgrade the wheels on this bike, I don't think you'd even class the originals as spare wheels, because you'd likely never want to use them. The full build has a claimed weight of 8.49 kilos for a size medium frame, but with a few changes, this could drop fairly quickly. It's clear that with an upgrade of wheels, tyres and handlebar, this bike can shake off its gremlins and be something really rather fantastic in the budget performance world. However, that's when the Propel Advanced 2 hits its biggest problem. Canyon has been cooking and is set to release an Aero CF SLX 7 Di2. This bike comes with carbon wheels from DT Swiss, tyres from Continental, and its well-known adjustable carbon cockpit. Oh, and not to forget, an entire Shimano 105 Di2 group set. And the cost, £3,949. Giant does have an answer for this, as it makes the Propel Advanced 1, which also comes with a 105 Di2 group set and carbon wheels, but the same issue with the handlebars and tyres persists. Not to mention that this build costs £4,299 or £350 more than the Canyon. The Aero is an aero bike at its core. Nobody is accusing this bike of being an all-rounder. So, if that's what you're looking for, then it certainly won't disappoint. Plus, the Canyon is also available in more colourways compared to the Giant. What did surprise me as I was combing through bikes was that neither Cube or Van Rysel is competing at this price point. Perhaps that's something those brands will do in the future. When comparing a size medium, the geometry of both the Propel and the Aero are incredibly similar. In fact, there's only a few measurements which split them apart. The Canyon is ever so slightly more aggressive with its longer reach and lower stack, but the difference is really small. The Propel has slightly shorter chainstays and a longer rake, resulting in a more agile bike at lower speeds, but the weight of the wheels would impede on this feeling of agility. The bikes are so incredibly similar that I'm splitting hairs. As always, the most important thing to do is to get the bike which fits you best. As it comes, I think the Propel Advanced 2 could be a bit of a dog to live with. Servicing mechanical, internally routed gears and hydraulic brakes will need a fairly good level of mechanical patience and expertise. If the 3 kilo weight of the wheelset is to be believed, I think this bike will end up feeling sluggish and require a fair bit of effort from the rider to get it up to speed. The bike will not feel nippy or reactive compared to bikes with lighter weight rims. I think this attribute alone won't inspire you to ride and could leave you feeling unrewarded for your effort. For pure value, the Giant Propel Advanced 2 offers the most in the aero bike category. However, if you want to fine-tune the setup, like changing the wheels and tyres, you'll likely see your total spend reach and exceed that of the soon-to-be released Canyon. In which case, that then becomes the better buy thanks to the electronic group set. I think it's great that Giant has found a way to offer its aero bike at this price point. Clearly, it's a very hard thing to do because, as far as I can see, it's the only brand that has. However, I'm left asking the question, is it a good idea to create a bike that hits a more accessible price point? Or is it better to create a product that doesn't require the customer to immediately go and spend more money? I think the answer to that really depends on the customer. I'm sure there's plenty of riders out there who prefer to go and buy a bike and then slowly upgrade parts and capitalize on sales and discounts. And then there's those who want a ready-to-go bike out of the box with no further need to upgrade. It's one to think about, so let me know down below. Would you buy the Advanced 2 knowing you need to change parts, or go for the soon-to-be released Canyon and have something that's ready out of the box?